Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joseph Novichkov, Senior Analyst at GDMFX. We're starting with the morning outlook a bit earlier. As per the news that are coming out in about 30 minutes, I'll mention throughout the outlook itself. First, we're going to start with the US dollar. It's rising against to the strongest level in almost 6 years versus the Japanese yen. As, of course, Treasuries yields climbed on speculation. Economic report this week will back the case for the Federal Reserve to boost interest rates next year. A gauge of the greenback advanced to a 14-month high before U.S. data forecast to show jobless claims fell and retail sales improved. However, Fed policymakers meet next week, September 16 and 17. That's Tuesday and Wednesday next week. The dollar is also likely to test new highs against the yen ahead of this meeting of the Federal Reserve. The dollar rose 0.2% to 106.23 yen. Going to UK, the pound over there slid to the weakest level since November versus the dollar again as opinion polls highlighted the risk Scotland will vote for independence next week, potentially, of course, splintering the UK's 307-year-old union. The GBP slid to 1.6061 throughout the Asian session, the lowest level seen in a couple of months. And now in the economic calendar today, as I mentioned, in about 30 minutes, Bank of England Governor Carney will have a speech. Also the numbers for the industrial and manufacturing production. Also trade balance will be released. Later into the trading session, we are expecting also the GDP preliminary report. Going to Europe, single currency also fell versus the dollar to 1.28865, the lowest since July 2013. European stocks are little changed after their biggest two-day decline in a month. Commodity sector, we're looking at gold. It's headed near a 3-month low as the dollar advanced on speculations. The Federal Reserve will, of course, rise interest rates next year, curbing demand for an alternative investment. The metal is holding right now at the lower level of the down channel at 1254. Further declines are expected. However, this level of 1252 is acting as a strong support. A bit more interesting with the West Texas Intermediate crude oil rising for the first time in 4 days before stockpile data. That will probably signal the strength of fuel demand in the US, which is, of course, as we already know, the world's biggest oil consumer. Before, of course, slipping to 91.76 per barrel in yesterday's trading session as predicted. The industry-funded American Petroleum Institute is scheduled to release separate supply data today. The institute in Washington is collecting information from a voluntary basis from operators of refineries, bulk terminals, and pipelines, while, of course, the government will require the report to be filled with the Energy Information Administration. That is to be out tomorrow. Well, that's all from it from today. Keep an eye on the economic calendar in the next 30 minutes for GBP. Important data is coming out. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.